The story begins with land that looks peaceful from a distance. Open fields, mountains in the background, and skies that stretch forever. But beneath that quiet view is something far more intense. This land is not just owned. It is fought for. It is protected like it is alive. Every inch has a story, and every boundary has a history that goes back generations. At the center of it all is the Dutton Ranch, a place built not in a few years, but over lifetimes. It is not the kind of place that can simply be sold or replaced. For the Dutton family, this ranch is not property. It is identity. It is memory. It is everything they believe they are. The man holding it together is John Dutton, a strong and quiet figure who understands one simple truth. If you lose the land, you lose everything. He is not just managing a ranch. He is holding back time, change, and pressure from the outside world that never stops moving closer. Around him, the world is changing fast. Cities are growing. Companies are expanding. Roads and buildings are slowly pushing into places that once felt untouched. And that is where the real tension begins. Because the land that once felt forgotten by the modern world is now becoming the center of attention. People from outside see opportunity. They see space to build, to invest, to expand. But the Dutton family sees something else. They see graves, hard work, sacrifice, and a legacy that cannot be measured in money. This difference in thinking becomes the first line of conflict. Every visitor who comes with an offer is met with silence or resistance. Every conversation about selling or moving forward turns into a battle of values. On one side is progress. On the other is tradition. And neither side is willing to back down. But the land itself seems to push back too. Storms hit hard. Winters are harsh. Every season brings new challenges that test not just the land, but the people who live on it. Life here is not easy. It never was. And that is exactly why the Dutton family refuses to leave. Because leaving would mean giving up more than ground. It would mean breaking a promise made long ago. A promise to protect what was built from nothing. A promise passed down through blood and time. Still, pressure builds. Slowly at first, then all at once. New forces begin to appear around the ranch. Powerful groups with money, influence, and long-term plans. They do not see a family. They see an obstacle. Something standing in the way of something much bigger. And while the outside world moves closer, the inside of the ranch is not as stable as it looks. The weight of holding everything together is not carried by one person alone. It spreads through the family, creating tension, disagreement, and emotional distance that cannot be ignored forever. Because when a place demands everything from you, it also takes something back. Time, peace, sometimes even trust. The Dutton Ranch stands strong on the surface, but underneath, the foundation is being tested in ways it has never been tested before. And as the pressure grows, one question starts to form quietly in the background. How long can something built on legacy survive in a world that only believes in the future? Inside the Dutton Ranch, the real battles are not always loud. There are no armies marching across the fields, no clear war cries. Instead, there are long silences at the dinner table, short answers that carry hidden meaning, and looks that say more than words ever could. John Dutton may be the head of the family, but holding a family together is not the same as controlling it. Each member carries their own pressure, their own pain, and their own idea of what the ranch should become. And slowly, these differences start to pull them in separate directions. Some want change. Some want tradition. Some want freedom from the weight of the land entirely. But at the center of every argument is one shared truth. They are all tied to this place, whether they like it or not. The ranch does not just shape their lives, it defines them. And that is where the tension grows. Because in a place like this, love and loyalty are never simple. They are tested every day. A single decision can feel like betrayal. A single mistake can echo for years. and even silence can feel like a weapon when used at the wrong time. John Dutton tries to keep everything balanced. He understands the outside threats, but the inside ones hurt more. Because you cannot negotiate with your own blood the same way you negotiate with strangers. There are no clear winners in family conflict, only consequences. As pressure builds from outside the ranch, the inside begins to crack in subtle ways. Trust becomes fragile. Conversations become shorter. And slowly, everyone starts protecting their own position instead of standing as one unit. This shift does not happen overnight. It builds over time, like a storm forming far in the distance. At first, it is easy to ignore, but eventually it becomes impossible to avoid. Each character begins to face their own path. Some are drawn toward ambition, seeing opportunities beyond the ranch. Others feel trapped, believing the ranch is both their home and their cage. And some remain loyal, believing that leaving would mean losing everything they are. But no matter what side they take, they all remain connected to the same source of conflict, the land and the legacy tied to it. Outside forces only make things worse. Powerful interests see the cracks forming within the family and know exactly how to use them. Pressure from corporations and political influence does not always come through force. Sometimes it comes through persuasion. Offers that sound reasonable. Deals that seem impossible to refuse. And when those offers reach inside the family, the real danger begins. Because now, it is not just about protecting land from outsiders. It is about deciding what the land even means anymore. Is it survival? Is it pride? Or is it something the world has already moved past? These questions do not have easy answers, and in the absence of answers, tension grows stronger. Every family member becomes a reflection of that struggle. Some fight to hold on, some prepare to let go, and some are caught in the middle, unable to choose between the past and the future. And through all of it, John Dutton remains at the center, trying to hold a system together that was never designed to survive this level of pressure. Because a ranch can be defended. A family can be protected. But when both are under attack at the same time, even the strongest foundation begins to shake. Beyond the fences of the Dutton Ranch, the world does not stop moving. It grows, expands, and consumes everything in its path. What once felt like endless land now feels like a target. And the people watching it are not farmers or neighbors anymore. They are developers, investors, and powerful groups with long-term plans. To them, the ranch is not history. It is opportunity. And that is where the real pressure begins to build. Roads start getting closer. Survey teams appear in nearby areas. Meetings happen in distant offices where maps are spread out and lines are drawn across land that others have lived on for generations. Every mark on those maps represents a future someone is trying to change. The Dutton Ranch becomes more than just a piece of land. It becomes a barrier, a final stretch of untouched space standing in the way of expansion. And barriers in this world are not meant to last forever. Offers begin to arrive. At first, they seem polite, carefully worded proposals that speak of progress, jobs, and development. They are framed as improvements, as something better for everyone. But underneath those words is a simple truth. Someone wants the land, and they are willing to do almost anything to get it. Some offers come with pressure. Some come with influence. Some come with hidden threats wrapped in calm conversation. But John Dutton understands one thing clearly. Every offer has a cost, even if it is not written on paper. And saying no does not make the pressure disappear. It only makes it stronger. Because when money does not work, other methods begin to appear. Legal battles start forming in the background. Political connections get involved. Decisions are made far away from the ranch that still directly affect it. The system itself begins to feel like it is slowly turning against the family. What makes it worse is how quiet it all feels at first. There is no single moment where everything breaks. Instead, it is a steady tightening. Like a rope being pulled inch by inch until breathing becomes harder without even realizing why. Inside the ranch, people feel it differently. Some sense danger. Some sense opportunity. Some refuse to believe anything will truly change. But all of them can feel that something is shifting outside their control. The land itself seems to reflect this pressure. Work becomes harder. Days feel heavier. Even simple routines begin to carry stress. It is as if the environment understands that change is coming, even if the people are still trying to deny it. And then, the real challenge appears. Not just protecting the ranch from outsiders, but deciding what it is worth in the first place. Because every offer, every threat, every negotiation is really asking one question: how much is this place worth to you? For some, the answer is measured in money. For others, it is measured in future plans. But for the Duttons, the answer is something far more complicated. It is measured in everything that cannot be replaced. And that is exactly what makes them dangerous to the people trying to take it. Because people who have nothing left to lose will not play by the same rules as people trying to win. Pressure has a way of changing things slowly, until suddenly, everything feels like it is happening at once. At the Dutton Ranch, that moment begins to take shape. What once felt like distant threats are now closer, louder, and harder to ignore. The outside world is no longer just watching the land, it is actively trying to reshape it. And inside the ranch, the weight of that reality begins to press down on every decision, every relationship, and every belief. The family that once stood as a single unit now feels stretched across different directions. Not broken yet, but no longer untouched. Every member is facing their own version of the same question: hold on or let go. And neither answer feels safe, because holding on means more conflict, more pressure, and more sacrifices. But letting go does not feel like freedom either. It feels like loss, not just of land, but of identity, memory, and everything they were built on. John Dutton remains the center of it all, but even leadership has limits when everything around you is shifting. He is not just fighting outside forces anymore, he is also fighting time, change, and the growing realization that not everything can be controlled. Some battles are legal, some are political, some are personal. But all of them lead back to the same place, the future of the ranch. And as those battles grow, so does the cost. Trust begins to weaken in small ways first. Decisions are questioned. Intentions are misunderstood. Conversations that used to be simple now carry hidden weight. The distance between people grows even when they are standing in the same room. Outside forces continue to push, but now they are not the only pressure. Internal conflict becomes just as dangerous, because when a family starts dividing under stress, even strong foundations begin to crack from within. There is no single moment where everything explodes. Instead, it is a series of choices. Small decisions that slowly build into larger consequences. One agreement leads to another problem. One refusal leads to new pressure. And every step forward feels like it costs something behind. The ranch becomes a place of constant tension, not just between people, but between ideas. Should it stay the same? Should it evolve? Or is it already too late to stop what is coming? No answer feels complete, and that uncertainty is what makes everything heavier. At times, it almost feels like the land itself is waiting, as if it has seen generations come and go, and now it is watching to see what this one will do. Stay? Change? Break? The silence across the fields becomes more noticeable. The storms feel more intense. Even the calm moments feel temporary, like something is always just out of sight, waiting for the right moment to arrive. And then comes the breaking point, not as one event, but as a buildup that finally becomes impossible to ignore. Choices must be made that cannot be undone. Lines must be drawn that cannot be erased. And whatever direction is chosen, it will not only shape the future of the ranch, but define what the Dutton legacy truly means. Because in the end, this is no longer just a fight for land. It is a fight for identity. And once that is tested, nothing stays the same again.